This is Seymour Rocks reporting from Down Under. I just want to read another article. I know it's been read by Margot last night, but it's very, very important. I've given the headline An Important Story of the Arctic Well Hidden. Sometimes you find the most significant stories quite by accident. You could be forgiven for missing it, but a friend picked up on a short sound clip on Radio New Zealand, only a few seconds long. I had to ring Radio New Zealand to get a reference to the most important story on the planet, for there is none in either their website or the podcasts. But this was the little bit that they quoted. Quote, "Climate change is redrawing the map. The northern Barents Sea has been part of the Arctic for 12,000 years since the last ice age. But in perhaps as little as a decade, it'll be part of the Atlantic, ice-free all year round. Scientists say the change in character of the northern Barents Sea is the first major climatic shift due to human-induced global warming." So I think, as per usual, they've probably got the time wrong. But let's just have a look what they're saying. So this is from the BBC on the 23rd of January, and it's entitled "Tipping Point, Risk for Antarctic Hotspot," and they've put tipping point in inverted commas. A rapid climate shift underway in the Barents Sea could spread to other Arctic regions, scientists warn. The Barents Sea is said to be at a tipping point, changing from an Arctic climate to an Atlantic climate as the water gets warmer. A conference in Norway heard that the Kara and Laptev Sea, both further to the east in Siberia, are likely to become the new Arctic frontier. We're already seeing that. Scientists warn that it will affect ecosystems. It may also impact on global weather patterns, although there's no agreement on that. They're concerned because the North Barents Sea has been governed by an Arctic climate since the end of the last ice age 12,000 years ago. The Arctic Ocean has a cold, fresh surface layer which acts as a cap on a layer of warm, saltier Atlantic water beneath. But now, in the Barents Sea, there's not enough freshwater-rich sea ice flowing from the high Arctic to maintain the freshwater cap, and that's allowing warm, salty water from the Atlantic to rise to the surface. In what's known as a feedback loop, the more the layers mix, the warmer the surface gets, and the warmer the surface gets, the more the waters mix. It's one of the first references to feedback loops that I've ever seen on the main media, especially someone like the BBC. So it's now only a matter of time, the researchers say, before this section of the Arctic effectively becomes part of the Atlantic. It could happen in as little as a decade, they warn. Dr. Sigrid Lind from the Institute of Marine Research and Birkenes Centre for Climate Research in Norway told the conference that if the sea stratification broke down completely, the change might become irreversible. Quote, "Large sea inflows of several consecutive years would probably be needed to rebuild the freshwater reservoir once it's gone, and that's not likely given global warming and strong Arctic sea ice loss," she told BBC News. She said the shift was so rapid that the whole Barents Sea could be completely sea ice free within a few decades, possibly even a decade. Then a new polar frontier region would probably develop further east in the Kara or Laptev Sea. Dr. Lind explained, "This is probably the first modern example of a rapid climate shift event. A part of the Arctic domain is shifting over to the Arctic climate regime. This sort of shift happened in the Nordic seas during the last ice age. When it happened, it changed very fast. This shows that the Arctic is responding to the 1 degree of global warming that we have today by shrinking and losing its outer part to the Atlantic domain, and that's alarming. Dr. Jeremy Wilkinson from the British Antarctic Society told BBC News that the new findings on stratification and fresh water were vital for understanding the future of the Arctic. Other scientists said different factors might be significant too, like a change in wind patterns that appears to be pushing sea ice away from the Barents region. The changes could affect weather patterns as far away as East Asia and may have an effect on the jet stream, which influences so much of the UK's weather patterns. Scientists haven't reached agreements on this yet. And in another puzzle, fresh water from the Western Arctic seems to be increasing as it diminishes on the Eastern Arctic. Scientists are still struggling to fathom the complexities of human impact. So, once again, the extent and the timeline are all slightly off, but despite that, this is a hugely radical time bomb. Okay, thank you. This is Seymour Rocks reporting from Down Under.